Miss Wang, the file for the soul proposal. Jungkook's voice cut through the silence of the office, calm but sharp like a blade wrapped in velvet. You didn't even look up as you passed the perfectly arranged folder across his desk, sorted, printed, and cross-checked. There's an update forecast on page 6. You replied, tucking a loose strand of hair behind your ear. Jungkook flipped through the pages silently, eyes scanning each line. The ticking clock filled the air, but you had grown used to that tension. With him, silence always spoke louder than words. You stayed late last night, he said without looking up. You blinked. It wasn't a question, it was a statement. I had to. The Q2 numbers didn't match the overseas reports. And your daughter? He asked casually, almost too casually. He froze for a fraction of a second. It was subtle, so subtle most people would have missed it, but not him. My personal life doesn't affect my work, sir. He looked up now, eyes unreadable. That wasn't what I asked. And there was a beat of quiet before you answered. She's fine. His gaze lingered for a moment longer than necessary before he leaned back. Good, because tomorrow's presentation won't tolerate any mistakes. You can go home now. That left you a little confused. It was only 6 p.m. But the board presentation is tomorrow, he said, completely focusing on you. And I don't want my secretary fainting in the middle of it. You are not a machine. You stared at him, surprised by the unexpected concern laced in his voice. He turned away before you could respond, walking back towards the door. Just as he reached for the handle, he spoke again, his back still to you. 1 hour. That's how late you stayed last night after I left. And 3 nights before that. You think I don't notice? Your breath caught for a second. You always thought he kept track of only numbers, not people, not you. I notice everything. Now go home, Ryan. As you stepped out of his office, Meena, one of the assistants, leaned in with a smirk. Leaving already? You looked at her and nodded. She smiled. He talks to you more than anyone else, you know. You didn't reply. It didn't matter. Nothing ever mattered outside work, but sometimes you wonder why he's different with you. That night, as you stepped into your small apartment, the silence was replaced by a tiny voice. Mommy. You smiled gently and bent down to scoop your daughter into your arms. My life, how was your day? Good, but I missed you a lot. You pressed your lips to her forehead, only to flinch slightly. Her skin was warm, too warm. You didn't want to believe it, but the flush on her cheeks confirmed what your instinct feared. Your heart dropped as you moved to the couch, gently placing her on your lap. You pushed her bangs aside and checked again, hoping you were wrong. You weren't. You are burning up. Just a little tired, Mommy. Don't worry. She replied sleepily. Your chest ached. She always said that like she was the one trying to protect you. You wrapped your arms around her, holding her close, rocking her ever so slightly as if the rhythm would somehow lower her fever or take away the guilt threatening to drown you. I'm so sorry, baby. Mommy's sorry. A beat of silence passed before you reached for the thermometer and her tiny medicine box. She didn't resist. She never did. As she rested her head against your shoulder, you leaned back and let the quiet seep into the room, and for a brief moment your mind drifted back to that day. 3 years ago, the day your world shattered. It was supposed to be a routine call, one he made every time he traveled, but that day no call came, no messages, just a knock on the door. You still remember the way the officer's eyes softened when he saw June playing in the living room. I'm sorry, there was an accident. Just like that, the man you loved, your husband, June's father, was gone. You didn't have the luxury to grieve, not when you had a 2-year-old clinging to your shirt asking why daddy wasn't home yet. You switched careers, abandoned dreams, and drowned yourself in work to survive, to provide, to protect. And for 3 years you did exactly that, until tonight when your little girl was sick and all you could do was hold her and whisper promises to make it all better. The next morning, Jion's fever hadn't dropped much. You stood in front of the mirror, adjusting your blazer with one hand and holding her small form against your chest with the other. There was no way around it. The company was at its most critical point. The board meeting today would decide your next global partnership, and yet you couldn't leave her alone. Your eyes met hers in the mirror. Her sleepy smile was soft, trusting. I'm sorry, sweetheart, but today you're coming with mommy to work. The soft hum of conversation floated through the glass walls of John Corporation's towering headquarters. As soon as you stepped through the elevator doors, holding Jion's tiny hand, a hush followed your footsteps, followed by bright, curious smiles. Is that Secretary Ryan's daughter? She's so adorable, looks just like her. You kept your gaze ahead, your posture composed, but your heart warmed when Jion gave everyone a polite little bow, whispering a shy hello. A few staff members cooed as she waved. Someone even crouched to offer her a tiny sticker which she clutched proudly. Once you reached the in-house daycare center tucked in the HR wing, you bent down. Okay, my love, just a few hours, alright. Mommy will come get you before lunch. I'll be good. Can I color the kitty again? Yes, but no eating crayons this time, okay? She giggled and you ruffled her hair, watching the staff greet her with affection before you turned and walked away, masking the tight knot forming in your chest. Back at your desk, you prepared for the most crucial meeting of the quarter. Spreadsheets aligned, presentations polished, every detail memorized. The moment the door to the CEO's office opened, your spine straightened and heart raced. Jungkook entered with the same cold intensity that made entire rooms fall silent, but as his eyes met yours, something unreadable flickered across his gaze. You rose immediately. Sir, the merger documentation has been finalized. The board will join the conference room in 20 minutes. I have also prepared. Did you bring your daughter today? He interrupted. You blinked as words caught in your throat. You nodded nervously. Yes, sir. I did. She had a high fever last night. I couldn't leave her alone. I didn't want to request leave considering how important today is. But I've ensured her presence won't affect the workflow. She's at the daycare. Why did you leave her there? You froze, slowly lifting your eyes to meet his. He didn't sound angry, but his voice, there was something in it, something that felt more like disappointment than disapproval. I didn't want to burden anyone, especially you. For a second, he didn't say anything, just looked at you with an expression that stripped away his usual stoicism. Then he sighed quietly. She's not a burden. Before you could even react, a soft knock came at the office door. The daycare attendant peeked inside with an apologetic smile. Sorry to disturb, but she's here. Mommy, she spoke from behind and ran into the room, her little arms already reaching for you. You bent instinctively to hug her, but her attention shifted suddenly. Are you okay, love? What happened? You asked, getting worried to see her here all of a sudden. Before Jiwon could answer, Jungkook stepped beside you and spoke, his voice calm but firm. I called her here. You straightened slowly, looking at him in confusion. Thank you. You may leave, he said to the attendant. The woman nodded politely and exited the room. You looked back at him, blinking. You called her here? She can't stay in daycare in this condition, he said matter-of-factly, though his gaze shifted briefly to June, softer now. It's too noisy. She needs rest. She'll stay in here with me. You were speechless. Your hand gently smoothed Jiun's hair as you stared at Jungkook, not knowing what emotion was rising inside you. Guilt, gratitude, shock, perhaps all of them. I didn't mean to let it affect work. I just thought, you said quietly, but he cut you off gently, and I thought you were the kind of woman who never makes excuses. Don't start now. His eyes locked onto yours. For a brief second, the air shifted again. Heavier, more meaningful than it had any right to be. June tugged at your sleeve, breaking the moment. Mommy, Uncle gave me chocolates. He's a gentleman. A slight smile appeared on your face, and Jungkook's heart skipped a beat. He was cold, but he never saw you smiling before. Thank you so much, sir, you said, looking at him. No need to thank. Also, you don't have to worry about her. June, would you like to watch some cartoons? He said, already walking towards his desk while she brightened up. I love watching Peppa Pig. Can we watch that together? He chuckled slightly, and that was very rare of him to laugh like this. He nodded. Yes, we can. He turned to June. Be nice, okay? I'm going to do my work. She nodded. Don't worry, mommy. I'll be a good girl. Jungkook smiled watching both of you. For some reasons, his heart melted. Check the preparations in the meeting room, and don't worry, I'll have someone watch her here. You nodded and bid goodbye to your daughter before leaving. She turned to Jungkook. Uncle, my mom works very hard, right? Jungkook smiled and nodded before walking towards her. Yes, your mom is hardworking and the best woman. She giggled, and she is very strong. I want to be just like her when I grow up. He smiled. I'm so happy you look up to her. She's indeed strong. Now let's go and watch the cartoon. Okay, but can we watch together? Will it be okay if it's for a few minutes? I can't leave your mom alone. I have to help her with the meeting. June pouted a little, her tiny fingers still clinging to his sleeve. But you'll come back, right? Jungkook paused just for a beat. That question, simple, innocent, held so much weight. Her eyes, wide and expectant, were the kind that had been let down before and feared it again. Jungkook kneeled slightly to her level. I promise. He tapped his pinky gently against her, sealing the quiet vow between them. You can finish your drawing here. I'll be back before the princess in the cartoon finds her way home. June giggled, nodding as she reached for her crayons. Okay, Pinky, promise. He stood up watching her settle back in his chair like she owned it, legs swinging, big eyes fixing on the screen. The drawing pad rested on her lap, filled with half-finished hearts and crooked little houses. For a moment he didn't move. He just watched her, that childlike calmness, the way she felt so safe in his space, like she belonged, like she had always belonged. A soft knock pulled him back to reality. The assistant manager peeked in, holding a few documents. Mr. John, the files for the Shanghai division. He stopped mid-sentence as his eyes landed on June, sitting on the boss's chair, wearing the boss's oversized coat, watching cartoons like it was her rightful throne. And Jungkook wasn't saying a word. The assistant blinked. Sorry, sir, I didn't realize. Leave them on the table. I'll go over them later. Yes, sir. The door closed again, leaving Jungkook in silence for a second. Then he turned back towards June one last time, heart a little too full for his own liking. I'll be back soon, June. Okay, appa, she said without looking up. The words slipped out so naturally, so quietly, it took him a second to register it. Appa, his breath hitched. June blinked and looked up at him, realizing what she said. Her mouth opened in panic. Uncle, I saw it in the cartoon and... She corrected hurriedly. Jungkook didn't respond it at first. He just knelt down again, brushing a strand of hair away from her face. What if I didn't mind that? She stared at him while he smiled gently. What if it's okay? If you call me that sometimes? June blinked. Then her small arm slowly wrapped around his neck in a hug, and for once Jungkook didn't hold back. He hugged her back like he had known her forever, like she's his blood, his daughter. As per the third quarter projections, we have seen a 12% increase in client engagement since the launch of the new campaign. Manager Park spoke. You were standing by the large screen, pointer in hand, nodding as the manager spoke. Jungkook sat silently at the head of the table, legs crossed, his eyes flickering from the screen to you. It always happens with him. Sometimes he just likes to admire you when no one is watching. The engagement spike is promising, but we still need to work on conversion. That's why today's meeting important. The upcoming collaboration with Han Corp could take us 3 steps ahead or 2 steps back, depending on how we handle this pitch. You have prepared the pitch deck, Miss Lee Vian? Board member spoke. Of course, pages 12 to 17, projected revenue streams and partnership benefits. You handed out a few printed copies while Jungkook watched. The room burst with murmurs of approval. You never miss anything, he said to you quietly. You blinked, surprised by the softness in his tone, but you gave a small nod, professional as always, even though your chest fluttered. I tried not to, sir. He looked like he wanted to say something else but was interrupted. We need confirmation on legal by end of this week. Shall we proceed with the proposal draft? Just as Jungkook parted his lips to respond, the door opened. Everyone turned. Tiny footsteps echoed across the marble floor. Your heart instantly stopped. It was your daughter, June. She stood there holding a corner of her dress, her eyes searching the room until they landed on Jungkook. You took a sharp breath, eyes wide. June, before you could reach her, she walked right past you, calm, certain, and straight towards the man at the head of the table. The room had frozen. She climbed onto Jungkook's lap like she had done it 100 times and held up her tiny hand. Appa, it hurts, she said, sniffling. Silence fell, complete, utter silence. You felt your stomach twist, the air pulled from your lungs. That word, Appa. Your eyes started to Jungkook, expecting shock, confusion, anything. You were ready to apologize, but he didn't even blink. He simply looked down at her finger, read from a tiny scrap, and gently took her hand in his. Did you bump into something? June nodded, sniffling. Let me see. He brought her hand to his lips and kissed it lightly, then reached behind his chair, pulled out a tiny first aid kit you didn't even know was there, and began cleaning the scrap with soft, patient movements. Everyone was stunned. You felt her eyes burn, not just from shock, but from what it meant. June had called him Appa, and he didn't flinch. He hadn't even looked surprised. In fact, he looked like he had been waiting for that moment all along. You stood still, hands clenched at your sides, your voice lost somewhere between pain and disbelief because you knew what that word meant. You knew how deeply June missed her father, and now she was calling someone else by that name, someone who, up until weeks ago, was just your cold, distant boss. And Jungkook had accepted it. Did she just say? You barely registered him. All you could see was June in Jungkook's arms, smiling through her pain, her head resting lightly on his shoulder, safe, content. He looked up, eyes meeting yours. Your eyes were moist with pain, confusion, and so much more. She's fine now, don't worry, he said quietly. Your breath hushed because the world had just changed, and not a single person in that room, not even you, was ready for it. As the meeting was over, you stood near his desk, arms crossed tightly, your mind still reeling. June sat quietly on the couch, her fingers playing with the corner of her dress. You had just finished gently scolding her for what had happened during the meeting. June, sweetheart, you can't just walk into meetings like that, and you lowered your voice slightly, glancing towards Jungkook's desk. You can't call someone Appa like that. That's not okay. She looked up at you with those big innocent eyes, so much like her father's. But Uncle said I can call him that. He said he would like it if I did. You froze. What? He said it's okay and I'm his daddy, mommy. Can I please call him Appa? Your heart cracked. You couldn't answer. You turned away before she saw the tears brimming in your eyes, and you quietly asked her to wait outside with her crayons for a while. The door clicked shut softly behind her. You stood silently. The office was now too still, almost suffocating, as Jungkook leaned against the window. His hands were in his pockets, watching you. Why would you say that to her? He didn't move. Why would you do that, Jungkook? You know what I have been through. You know how hard I have worked to keep her safe from false hopes, false attachments. You can't just tell her things like that. This time you raised your voice because only you know the pain. He finally turned to you, eyes calm but pained. Because I meant it. You blinked. What? I meant every word. I told her she could call me Appa because I want her to. Because I want to be that for her. You don't understand. No, you don't understand, Mayan. You have built your whole world around being strong, being unshakable, pushing everything away so it doesn't hurt. But you are allowed to want more. You are allowed to need someone. You and June, you deserve happiness. His voice cracked at the edges, something you had never heard before. I have loved you for so long, quietly, silently, from behind all this coldness you think defines me. I watch you take on the world every day, disciplined, graceful, alone, and I see her, June, who looked at you like you hung the stars. You think you are protecting her by keeping people out? But she has already let me in. You were breathless. Jungkook stepped closer, his voice calm but edged with emotion. Ryan, I know you are angry and I understand why. I crossed the line when I told June she could call me that, but I didn't say it for attention or to confuse her. I said it because I meant it, with every part of me. I look at her and all I see is this beautiful, brave little girl who reminds me of you. I know she had a father, I know you had a love that you lost, but what I'm asking is, can I be something new? I didn't plan this, I just want to love her and you. You stood still, lips parted, blinking rapidly. Do you even hear yourself, Jungkook? This isn't just some sweet moment you can step into and out of. This is her life, my life. You can't offer comfort today and vanish tomorrow. I have no intention of vanishing, Ryan. If you would just stop running from me long enough to hear the truth, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not here to pass through your life. I'm asking to stay. And what happens when the weight of it all gets too heavy? When you realize I come with scars, with fears, with a daughter who still wakes up asking where her father is. What then, Jungkook? He walked towards you slowly, gaze fixed on you. Then I hold your hand through every breakdown. I hold her when she cries, I stay. That's what love does, Ryan. I'm not here for the good parts only. I want the nights when you break down, the mornings when you are exhausted, the arguments, the fear, the mess, all of it. I want you. You looked away, your voice trembled as you tried to speak. I don't know how to love again. I don't even know if I can. Every time I think about opening my heart, I remember how badly it hurt the last time, and it terrifies me. He was right in front of you now, not touching, just letting his presence surround you. Then let me show you that love doesn't have to break you, that it can heal too. You have carried everything alone for so long, your pain, your daughters, your own regrets, and I admire your strength. But even the strongest people deserve rest. Even you deserve someone to lean on. This was the very first time you let your tears slip in front of someone. Do you have any idea how exhausting it is to keep pretending like I'm fine, like I don't miss being held, being heard, like I don't want to fall asleep knowing someone is watching over us? Yes, I know, and I want to be that person for you. I want you to wake up one day and not have to carry the whole world alone. I want June to know what it feels like to be loved without conditions again. And I want you to stop pretending with me. You don't have to be strong all the time. You looked into his eyes, finally letting your guard slip just enough. I don't want to need anyone, because needing someone means giving them the power to hurt you. Maybe, but it also means giving someone the chance to love you, to protect what matters to you. You have already given so much to everyone else. It's okay to let someone give something back. And what if I fail again? What if I love you and it breaks me? Then we'll break together and I'll rebuild every part of you until you believe in love again. Not the kind that asks you to sacrifice, but the kind that wraps around you like shelter. I'm not here to fill a role. I'm here because I'm in love with you, all of you, even the parts you think are too broken. Your voice dropped to a whisper. She called you up and you didn't even blink. His lips curved into a faint, emotional smile. Because it felt right, because the moment she said it, I realized that somewhere in my heart I had already become that for her. And if you let me, I want to be that for both of you, not for a day, for a lifetime. You stood there in silence, eyes locked with his, the weight of everything finally loosening in your chest. And for the first time in years, you didn't pull away. Instead, you stepped forward, gently laying your head against his chest, his arms wrapped around you, steady and warm, as if they had always belonged there. You're not afraid of this, of me, my past. I'm only afraid of a future where I don't get to love you, he replied gently, caressing your hair. A soft knock broke the moment. June pushed the door open with her sketchbook held to her chest, her tiny voice breaking with hesitation. Mommy, can I stay with you and Appa? You froze. She said it again without confusion this time, without looking at Jungkook for permission. She meant it, and what broke you wasn't the word. It was the way Jungkook knelt down, opened his arms, and smiled as if he had been waiting his whole life for her to say it. Of course you can, sweetheart. Your mommy accepted me. Appa is not going anywhere. You watched your daughter run into his arms, and for a moment it was all too much. The love, the grief, the healing. You joined them slowly, wrapping your arms around them both, and in that small circle, something shifted. No longer just surviving, but starting to live again, not as three broken people, but as one whole family.